hasn't heard this before, or a version of it, money doesn't grow on trees. Money is the root of all evil. Money isn't everything. We can't afford that. I know I have, and it's taken me a long time to work through the trauma of money and the trauma surrounding money and my beliefs in it from childhood, and then when I triggered into complex PTSD, and this is what I want to talk to you about. I'm Chantal at Unfold Your Freedom, and I'm a holistic counselor. And this particular video has actually taken me a good 18 months to do, because when my coach, we were going through what I'd like to share and what I wanted to bring in. This was one of the money trauma. It's taken me all this time to get to this point where I can actually sit down and actually share with you more honestly my own experience and bringing it all together, because I had no idea not only where my beliefs were around money from childhood, but then where I went terribly wrong after a car accident, which I will keep sharing with you why, because this can happen to you, whatever it might be. And I triggered into complex PTSD, and I lost all concept of money and got myself into debt. But I couldn't understand why. So just remember, save for a rainy day, and you don't know what disaster will strike, so there's that. So that can also be a trauma response where you keep saving and don't know how to hold on, therefore you can't enjoy life. Or the other way is where you go against that, because I was taught that initially, but then the trauma completely went the other way. I spent because I couldn't see a future. I didn't know how to create a life plan and a saving plan. So it was the most bizarrest feeling, because I went from this person who was good with money in many ways, despite having these beliefs around money and not deserving and all that, to this person who was absolutely not good with money at all. And also, when I first went into business many years ago, into massage and Reiki and aromatherapy, there was also that belief that you can't make money from that. Like you can't make money from an artist or being a musician or anything like that. You had to be a certain thing. I had to be a lawyer. Well, it was emphasized I should be a lawyer because of my good brain. I hated it. Guess what? I failed. And of course, that was traumatizing in itself. And the other one that is also, rich people are greedy, rich people have short pockets, all that glitters isn't gold. And really what it is, it's actually, when we see money in that way, we actually have either taken on generational attitudes towards money, and we haven't been able to sit there and discern, does that belong to me or not? Because rich people can be good too, so why do we believe that? You can come good from having no money. You can be happy without money, you can be unhappy with money. So it's all of us needing to work on our mindset and what are we going to be happy with. Now, I'm sure you can add any more if you wish to. I'd love to hear. I know I could, but this is just to get us started. So, of course, there is a lot of fear around money, no matter how much you have. So I've done a lot of work and looking into this and reading books, and of course, around myself, that we have fear around money. Will I be able to hold on to money if I have a lot of money? Will people love me if I have a lot of money? Will people want the money that I have? Then if you don't have money, because everyone says, like in business, you need to be around the 5 people who are successful. What if you don't have that? It just triggers all these beliefs, and like you should only be friends with certain people who are successful, who are financially successful. See, what I did for a long time is I looked at success in that financial sense. So yes, I had failed, if you want to look at it that, but I had been really successful in my own healing. No one talks about that healing side, that's a success. To come back to, I can honestly say to you now, I've got my money back under control. It took me many years to do that. So now I want to look at financial success. So remember, our lives are based around money. That's how we are. We do an exchange of money. We need to live. We need it to live, and we need it to survive, let alone have anything else. And we need to, and the idea is that you can build a nest egg and save, but with the economy, particularly the way it is now, beginning of 2024, very hard to do. So as I said to you, I learned over the years, when I went particularly back to my counsellor after I'd done a lot of healing, I wanted to look at my attitude or what had happened with my trauma around money and therefore my business. You can use this in your personal life, what I'm saying, in a business if you've got one, or in your career, because it's all about your self-worth. It's all about how you value yourself. It's all about your self-esteem and confidence to ask for what you want. So So like, for example, in business, setting the prices for my products was easier than now being a counselor setting my price for my hourly rate. Because it's like, well, who am I? Who am I to ask that? Am I of that value? Will anyone want to come to me? So what you're thinking of is what other people will think of you rather than you thinking of yourself. In a career, you might want to ask for a pay rise. You know, you might want to ask to go to another level, but you don't know how. You know, someone might lend you money. No, sorry, borrow money from you. Then you don't know how to bring it back, get it back, because you don't want to create confrontation. Oh, well, you know, you keep putting it off. So all these things come into play. And I know I've done that. Oh my goodness, you know, and I haven't had the courage to ask for that money back. What it's actually saying is more about you, as much as they're not paying you back. It's more about you not having that confidence. So again, this comes from childhood. We don't deserve, and so we learn to keep quiet. So we keep it all in here. And we don't know how to ask for professional advice because we're not taught to talk about it. Well, I wasn't. We didn't talk about it at home. We didn't talk about it at school. I wasn't educated on it. And I really want us to start looking at what is money mean for us and why we can't hold on to it. It's about learning about your incoming, how much money you have coming in, how much you have going out, both personal, both business. I couldn't even do that in the end. No wonder I was leaking money everywhere because I didn't know how to look at where was my money going. You know, you have subscriptions, you never watch it anymore. You forget you've got those. You go out for coffee all the time. My financial advisor said she worked out, she spent $3,000 a year on getting a cup of coffee regularly. You can save on that. So it's about you sitting down and having an honest good look at where's your money going. Taking the courage. I didn't till I was just on nearly too late because I didn't listen to my accountant who kept telling me change, but I couldn't. I was driven. I had to keep going because who would I be without this? What would I do? Now if I knew, I would have done it very differently. But I've had to really crawl myself out of a very difficult situation. First time I really shared that with anyone. So if you get triggered here, because this is not about giving you advice, it's just about giving you ideas, seek professional advice. You can go to financial counselors, financial advisors, and of course, counselors on the whole to look at where's this coming from. So I found this, I didn't know how to negotiate. So that's another thing. We don't know how to negotiate contracts, like I said, in business, negotiate even you know, with your partner, your spouse, your children, buying a home, buying a car, you don't think you should. One thing I learned, even though it's on a very small level, up in Bali, for them, it is about haggling. It is about negotiating. And I found that very difficult because for me, haggling for 50 cents was so small. But for them, that was part of their life, part of their way of doing business. They enjoyed that. So once I understood that, it became a very different thing. And I really liked that. Because when you feel uncomfortable about putting yourself out there, it's because you're lacking uncertainty in your life. There's a lack of control. And so there's heightened anxiety around the future because everything feels unpredictable. I only learned that years later. No wonder I spent that money because I couldn't see the future. It felt unpredictable. I just couldn't see it. So I spent money right now. Plus I got caught up in wanting to show particularly other women in business that I was successful. So I'd buy this course, I'd do that, I'd do something else. I had a website. I didn't think, did I really need to do any of this? I needed to keep up to have a sense of worth. Oh my goodness, how shallow is that? But it is part of trauma. I've had to really work on that. So, because of course what happens is you'll think, how will I cope? So you keep having this catastrophic thinking. I had to learn how to not to keep thinking that another drama will happen, something else will happen. So we anticipate all the worst outcomes. So you can't set realistic financial goals. You can't set any goals. And that was one of the previous setting intentions because you don't know how to do that. You have no sense of future, okay? So that comes into that. So you avoid financial discussions. Again, we're not taught. You doubt your ability to make informed ones. I doubted it and I couldn't even understand what had happened. Now, oh my goodness, now that I'm back and I have actually faced my demons, and I'll share a story when I first went in, the first few times, I went to see the financial advisor. I was so anxious, I nearly didn't get there. I nearly turned around and came back. It was quite a long trip. Not only that, when she showed me my figures and they were in the red, I actually got up and vomited. Well, I went to the bathroom. So I just want to share that with you. First time I've shared that. I was so upset with myself and the shame was horrendous. So, now I can. She guided me for 8 years to come back. So she did it financially with me because she also works spiritually. So of course I was reluctant to have any of these discussions. Oh my goodness, please listen to me. Feel your reluctance and do it. That's all I can tell you. Go and seek help. Go to Citizens Advice Bureau. If you need to go to get Centrelink, or I don't know what you call government support, go in and ask them. Don't fear it. I did. And you know what? We make it bigger than it actually is. So this led for me to panic attacks and anxiety and depression. So it could be doing things for you, affecting your health, of course, your mental health at that, until you face it. As soon as I started facing it, it started to change. Okay, so how are we going to say this? How does it affect finances? All right, so it's going to affect work productivity, and it can also work at home, if you are, doing things around the house. So what it's going to do, you could have difficulties, because what you have is difficulties focusing, concentrating, and performing well in work. So therefore, that's going to hinder you impacting your career advancement and income. And of course, in my case, even though, because I had difficulty concentration, I couldn't get my business to grow and I kept staying still. Of course, you make occupational choices, which I didn't realize I was already in business when I had this, that are going to keep you safe. So it's going to keep your income at a certain level, all right? Because you want to avoid triggers and you want to avoid putting yourself out there. Because at the moment, I feel still there's not a lot of empathy and understanding around mental health and trauma. This is why I want to keep talking about it. There's emotional spending. Oh my God, how many more shoes could I have, and scarves and sarongs, and as I said, courses and spiritual courses, and oh my God, oracle cards and candles and crystals. And I had to stop one day I had to stop and look at, this is where my money is going. Do I need this? But it gives you a sense of comfort. It's a temporary escape. You get that moment of high, and then often the buyer's remorse, even if it is small. It's a form of distraction from what you're really feeling. Okay, you gain a sense of control being able to do that, but in fact, you're not in control. And in fact, I didn't have to, but some people even cut up their credit cards. I had a credit card limit put onto my credit card, so I couldn't buy any more. That's particularly in my business. That's where I had gone. And again, I'm embarrassed to say that. So I did it through purchasing. All right. So it also projected, like I said before, an identity of success. So look at me, I'm the successful businesswoman. Short-term gratification, that is all it is. That's why you need to keep doing more and more and more. So we do risk-taking behavior. We do impulse purchases. Oh, I need that. Oh, I need that. Oh, everyone else is doing that. I need that. Shiny object syndrome, as they call it in business. No, you don't. Or you might do impulsive investments, or you might even start to gamble because you're not considering the long-term consequences of your decisions and money spending. Okay, so it's hard to maintain employment stability when you're feeling like this. I was told by one of the medical specialists when I was going through the car accident payout, the state that I was in with my violent headaches, with the whiplash and my trauma and menopause, there was no way I could even have a part-time job, let alone a full-time job. So in a way, what he did, he gave me a sense of someone listened to me and heard me. But what I did was I kept going on in my business. Really, I couldn't do it. I actually couldn't do it. Oh, when I look back now, it brings tears to my eyes. This is what we do to ourselves. We push ourselves. We don't have compassion and love and care. I didn't know how to take the time out, because what would I do? Where would I get money from? But I spent the money, So we spend as a form of denial. This is what I've just been saying. We attempt the financial one. And of course, what we do is we accumulate debt, which adds to it. And of course, I'll do it one more time. When you're in survival mode, you are only focusing on your immediate needs. What are you needing now? Too hard to plan further on, because what happens? So you find it very hard to save. So because of this, we make impaired decision making because of our cognitive functions. So things that we normally take for granted, activities such as understanding, processing, storing, and using information. All that for me was gone. I couldn't put things together. I just couldn't see the bigger picture when my business coach was telling me, or when I was doing the tech. It was too mind-boggling. God, it just, when you think about it, look back on something where you couldn't do it, give yourself some love and just give yourself some space. I'm giving you permission to go, oh, thank God it's that, but what can I do now to make the difference? So basically, to end all this is take the time to have a look at your finances. Have the courage to do so. It's going to be really hard. Let me tell you, you need to find someone you trust and not just do it. Get started. It will make a difference. Again, this is my experience only. If do go and seek help, get professional help, and it will make a difference in the long run, because there becomes a sense of strength and confidence when you start. I know each step that I took, no matter how small it was, with her encouragement, was, wow, I've done it. And then she'd reflect back to me how far I've come. Now I can make the big decisions in a whole different way. Thank you for listening.